handle the truth.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Thursday Night Get Right. Pray that everybody is doing well and blessed and comfortable, settled in for this great discussion. I'm Thomas Freeman, and I got my co-host tonight, Mr. Demetris Knuckles Hill, coming out of Detroit, Michigan.
Y'all know what it is. It's time to get right. It's Thursday night. It's a time that you must tune in because we'll be having real talk. Not that any other day lacks real talk, but today is just a kind of a more open forum discussion. We welcome all comments, suggestions, opinions, and let's debate about it. If it requires a debate, let's debate about it. But we got to talk about it. So tonight we're gonna be talking about the oversexualization of women, whether it's on social media, videos, TV, just the oversexualization of women, period. That's the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big discussion. Before we get into that, let's give our shout outs. I pray that everybody is comfortable, sane, doing the best that they can. That you heed our messages week in and week out about controlling yourself, controlling your emotions, making sure that you're thinking before acting instead of reacting and then thinking. And I pray that everybody's doing okay. I know that there's been a lot of loss of family going on, so I pray for strength within those that have lost family members here within the past week or so, and just praying for strength, and unity first and foremost, that we get right, we come together, we unite, and we start strengthening our communities. So please visit www.cominghomecoalition.com to sign up for the raffle that we have going on at the end of the month. March 25th will be the drawing for those, so please get in, get your raffle tickets to win baseball tickets, soccer tickets. We have, I believe we have food, Publix cards, gift cards. I may even throw in a PlayStation 5 game. So make sure to tune in for that, and I'll pass the mic to my co-host for his plugs.
We giving a special shout out to everybody who going through something today. Everybody who going through something, and we giving a shout out to those who made it through something. And we're giving, as he said, we're giving strength, energy to those who are struggling right now because they need it. We need it. The community need it. And we're giving special shout outs to all the organizations out here on the ground fighting, from Michigan Liberation, Michigan United, Safe and Just Michigan, Nation Outside, Coming Home Coalition, and so many others. And it's too many to name. So just know that if you out here doing the work and you serious about doing the work, we acknowledge you, we appreciate it, we grateful that you're doing the work. Passing it back to my man, Thomas Freeman.
Absolutely, no question. So getting into tonight's discussion, D, I guess what really kind of brought this to my attention is there's been a lot of discussions about relationships that I've been seeing, going through YouTube, TikTok, and such. And I've really noticed a lot more content on TikTok about, these TikToks, like, you'll see these women, I'm a sex slave worker. Hi, I'm a sex slave worker. I bet you didn't know I was a sex slave worker. And it shows, these provocative women. I've seen videos of, and we're not even just talking about these so-called quote unquote yoga exercises that these young girls are on there doing, but we're just talking about more along the lines, the almost kind of pushing deviant behavior. I'll see some older women making TikTok posts about being a stepmother, having relations with their sons, their stepchildren, or their stepchildren's, friends or things like that. And these videos are getting thousands and thousands, if not millions of views. So listening to a couple individuals like Jordan Peterson and the individual that I'll play here shortly, I really want us to have a discussion because we're both plugged into the communities, and not only that, but the poor communities. And some of our discussions in past have been about how we teach our children in a poor community to either be a ball player, some sort of entertainer for these people, but essentially the bottom line is that we have to sell our bodies,
Mm.
whether athletically or sexually, to make it out of the poor communities.
Wow.
And we're seeing this more and more, whether it's with the young boys with the rap, or the young girls with, the sex. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I need to kick myself in the butt right now for real. I mean, I really, really do. Because I have a video when I was in Puerto Rico a few months back, and we was at a harm reduction conference. So there was people from all over the world, literally, came to Puerto Rico for the harm reduction conference, the biggest conference in the world at the time. And so you had transsexuals, you
Hmm.
had bisexuals, homosexuals, you had every sexual uh, orientation there, and you had other organizations fighting for women's rights, fighting for criminal justice reform, etc., mental health, everything. And I interviewed this young girl. Actually, she's 27. I interviewed her. I asked her, could I interview her on camera? And she was a sex worker. I don't know why I didn't think it. I got the video, and
You got the
listen,
video right now on your phone. You can send it.
yes,
If you send it to me on Messenger, I can pull it up.
I'm about to send it to you right this second.
But while you do that, let me go ahead and play the video that I want the viewers to see, and we'll watch that. It's about a 9-minute video on our discussion tonight. Let me get this lined up right. So this is a pretty popular character right here, and I believe he has 2.2 million subscribers. He's known as the Officer Tatum, and
The Officer Tatum Store, the Officer Tatum Store. Get the merch link in the description section. Also put in discount code Tatum IG. Get 20% off the entire store. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notification anytime I go live and make a video. Y'all know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, I had to make this video. And by no means am I disparaging any specific person. Am I trying to call out any individual? I don't know half of these people that I have these photos of. But I'm not trying to make them look bad, not trying to call them out. I'm just trying to draw eyeballs to an issue. I'm trying to draw your attention to something that I think is really plaguing our society, and that's the sexualization of women.
Yeah.
And the participation by women in the sexualization of women is also a huge issue. Why do you bring this up, Brandon Tatum? Because everywhere I look, everywhere I go online, Instagram, sports, everywhere, I don't know, for whatever reason, that everything women are participating in the U.S. society is sexualized.
Sent.
It's sexualized, and many people wonder why women are having a hard time finding good men that want more out of a relationship than just one thing. And the problem is because the sexualization of women, and I'm gonna show you some photos to back up the proof of what I'm saying. The sexualization of women is now causing men to view them sexualized in a one-dimensional sense. A lot of young men are growing up and viewing women this way, and therefore the first thing they want from women is the thing that they view first. Just like if you were advertising in a company and all you show is one thing in the company, people are going to say, okay, this company is known for this, and this is all they have to offer. I don't even know what their values are, because all they advertising is this one product. It's the same thing about women in this country. Unfortunately, not all, but unfortunately, a good amount of them are presenting and advertising one thing. Therefore, people don't know what else you're good at. They don't know what's behind the pretty smile. They don't know what's behind all that makeup. They don't know what's behind that body you flaunting on Instagram. But I'm not gonna, don't just listen to me, man. I want y'all to not just listen to B. Tatum. Look at these clips, and it'll go through. That was a young lady playing tennis. This is track and field. This is a young lady who's anchoring on television. This is the way they dress on television. Here's how women dress, and not all women, but this is a way women dress playing golf. This is a comparison of volleyball, beach volleyball, men versus women. This is the most popular form of football that women participate in, which is lingerie football. They're not going to pick ugly people to go on TV. I just want you to know that. Beautiful women on TV. This is CNN's anchors. I looked it up. But they want to tell women, oh, it's about image and you beautiful just where you are. No, they're not going to pick a woman that's not incredibly beautiful to be on TV. You can't tell me that all these women are incredibly beautiful, or at least they making themselves up to be. Beach volleyball. It's the way we're going to keep going, and I'll let it stop. This is the way women are dressing on national television. CrossFit. And I'm not saying they don't look good, but that's the problem. Television, Fox News. If you got the woman dressed like that, now look at how the women are dressed and look at how the man dressed in the middle. And I like all of these people. Look at golf. And it's another CNN anchor. Y'all know who that is. But I'm just going to play a couple of these images. I want you to see what I'm saying. The comparison of men's football and lingerie football. And this is the most popular form of female football. Is this right here. CrossFit, another CrossFit workout. This is the way women are working out, competing in workouts like this. This is the way they're advertising in workouts, just like this. This is gymnastics. They doing flips. Why do they need to dress like this? And this is back to the beginning at the tennis player. So I want to show you guys just a little bit of the Instagram, because so you can know not only is this the way women are being presented on television and in sports and in football. Let's just look at Instagram. And I just decided to go on because when you were looking at Instagram, that you'll see them in your feed and your little Explorer page. Somewhere they'll pop up. I just put country girls, right? Country girls. Women who are country. Why do they need to be looking like this? And I know this is just one of many pages, but you just scroll down. Nothing against this person's page, but this is the way women are being presented. Why does she got to do that with a gun in her hand? With a gun. What does this have to do with horses? You're shooting a bow and arrow. Why do you got to be sexualized? This woman is a police officer. Why does she need to be sexualized? She's hunting. She's fishing. I don't know what the car got to do with anything. She's throwing axes and she got a booty hanging out. She's carrying a gun. It's like, why do women have to be sexualized in almost everything they do? And this is just one thing. You don't want me to go to some of these other sites where they are intentionally showing stuff they probably shouldn't show, but this is all over the internet. This is all over the internet. What do you think young people are thinking when they see women like this? They one-sided. They only thinking about one thing. And for women who participate in this, I got to criticize you just for a little bit, and I can criticize men as well, but women who participate in this, just don't get mad if you can't find a man that really want to take you seriously. And I'm not saying all y'all want to be serious. Probably most of y'all don't want to be serious and you want to play. But don't get mad if men don't take you seriously, because the first impression that they have of you is your looks, your body, what you got to offer physically. And now with the availability of stuff they can look on the internet, now the mind has been poisoned and you are boxed into a corner, but that's all that men want to see and do. And then you get exploited. They put you out on the news, sell beer. They got a place out here, a wing place called Twin Peaks. Got women in there dressed like that. There's some other places people are telling me about that women are dressed like all kind of ways. And they just serving you food. But the contrast is that the men are not treated that way. Look on the news. Men don't have to be in great shape. Men don't have to have makeup on, even though they put makeup on men, but they don't have to have their lips done. They don't have to have none of that stuff. Men have suits on. Their arms ain't showing, their chest ain't showing, their stomach ain't showing, their legs ain't showing, none of that. Look at basketball. Look at track and field. For the most part, men are covered up in track and field. Look at beach volleyball. Look at football. Go down to tennis, golf. Men wear slacks in a polo shirt. Women wear skirts. This video may not do well. This video may not be the greatest video, but I think this stuff needs to be pointed out. It bothers me because our whole country is just sexualized. And young men growing up, and until I got saved, and even after being saved, it's a struggle. I'm married now, so I'm good, but it's still so much out there. And men are just falling for it. And young men, I want you to understand one thing before I get off here, because it's not just about women. You have to understand that you need to seek more from a woman than just one thing. And I wouldn't even mess with these women on the internet like this. If they showing this on the internet, they probably ain't really worth much to you. If you're a good man and you want somebody that ain't been ran through, like a banner at a track meet. You probably want a woman that's a little more reserved, that respect her body and herself and her image a little bit more than to flaunt it all over the internet for clicks and likes. So you probably don't want to even mess with them anyway. However, it's more to life than just that. It's more to relationships than just that. And I'm telling you the truth, and this ain't for the kids. I should have put a warning on it. I tell you the truth. Once you had one, I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. So you don't need to be trying to do all this. Find you a good woman that's going to complement your life, that you can raise children with, that have morals and faith and belief that are similar to yours. That's what you need to do. Don't worry about the looks. Don't worry about all that sexuality, because there's always going to be a woman that look better than the woman you got. They just keep getting better and better and better. And then when you get old and both of you and your wife ugly and wrinkly, there's some new ones that going to come up and look just as good or better than your wife when y'all were 20. So don't get caught up in that. It's all a mental facade. And I wish I would have said this at the beginning of the video. Also, the women that you do see on here, it's all a facade. These women got angles. These women got filters. They putting on makeup. They getting implants. They getting lifts. They taking drugs. I mean, they doing all kind of stuff to build this fake image of who they are. And I'd say this, and I'll challenge anybody. True beauty in a woman, and a woman that truly believes that she's beautiful, just see how many times she'll walk around with that makeup on. That'll tell you how she feel about herself. Let's see how beautiful women believe that they are. If women were posting a blog, posting a thing with no makeup on and no filters, it won't happen. Anyway, I love you guys. I know I jumped around to a bunch of places. This was just something on my heart. I decided to make a video about it. Like it, dislike it, whatever. It's on you. Comment in the comment section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Visit.
So, I mean, I can't really disagree with anything that he's saying there, and it really leads me to ask, what is it? What do you value, D? Like, what do you value in a woman? What do you look for when you're talking about putting a woman next to your side for the rest of your life that you can count on in your hardest times, and you as an individual, as a particular human being that has been through hard times? So what is it that you look for in that type of woman? I can't hear you.
I had it on mute.
There you go.
It's integrity. It's that self-respect, and I will say this here with no judgment against those women who are going through the psychological challenges that they face, and emotional and whatever other challenges that they face. But it's integrity for me. It's that self-respect, that self-confidence. And when it's a woman that has learned not to sacrifice her self-confidence, her self-respect, and her dignity. That woman who has learned or is learning that, because to me, I see that's what one of the problems is today, is that, again, no judgment against these women, but the women are being taught that it's all right to sacrifice their dignity to get to where they're trying to go. Or you don't have to say, don't say anything if someone else degrades you or dehumanizes you. Don't say nothing, because it's going to be consequences and repercussions.
And I mean, so yeah, for me, it's likewise. It's there has to be. So I mean, the trek that I'm going on now, like Officer Tatum was saying, we get into these one track mindsets of what a relationship looks like. And for me, growing up, all my relationships started on a physical basis, right? All my relationships started physically. I was always an intense kid, and God gifted, And I always thought that that was the best part of me, was that peace. And
Mm.
this is why a lot of times I say, especially for men, because men are always wishing, that they maybe have a little bit more or something like that. And it's like I say, not everything that you think is a blessing,
Mm.
because they can be curses as well. And it's almost like, driving down the highway and you see a man driving a Porsche, and in our minds we're sitting there saying, like, man, that's a lucky dude right there, man. But
Mm.
yet in
Mm.
reality, this dude may be thinking about wrapping his Porsche against the next pole that he runs across,
Wow, you ain't lying.
because of everything that comes with that Porsche. You see what I'm saying? So people, we're envious of things that we know nothing about. And for me, that type of building a relationship based on physicalness just led into such toxicity, right? Every relationship. So it's me taking a step back from all of that and understanding that, one, I'm more than this. There's more to me than just that. And being in control of these emotions and these feelings, knowing that, because for me, like, D, knowing in the back of my mind, like, I could really, this is how I used to think as a kid. Like, man, if I wanted this chick to do something for me, like if I wanted her on the team, all I had to do was just slay her. You know what I mean? And she wasn't going anywhere. And knowing that you have that type of power within you, and this goes for any type of power in any situation, but knowing that you wield that type of power and influence over another individual is something that's very hard to contain.
And that's one of the but in psychology they says that that's a characteristic of a misogynistic view. And because a misogynist exercises his control, his ability to control women. That's what a misogynist do. So he hops at every opportunity to pounce on a woman, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and otherwise. And so me just growing up around a lot of females and being so overprotective of my female family members, and growing up in that type of environment, having to fight for my female cousins, and being like Martin Lawrence and Will Smith was in Bad Boys, when the guy came to see Martin Lawrence's daughter, I played both of those roles. I was the good guy and the bad guy with the boyfriend when he came over. And I didn't care how old my cousins were. To this very day, they like going on 60, and I'm still the same way. So, but I understand the mindset. I understand the thought that we can control. If I want you, I know how to get you. If I ever get in the car, you mine.
Mhm.
I understand that thought of control. And what I want to do is I want to look at it from this angle, not from the male perspective to the female, but the discussion is more so the female's perspective, the female's response to society's misogynistic view and objective view of her. This is what we have to talk about and discuss, because we already know what the guys think about. I see the big booty girl and I see the big breast and I see the pretty face, and the guy like, man, she this, she. So we already know that part. I think that our goal, our goal is to educate and shed light and pay some attention to what the woman is going through and why women tend to go the route or take the route that they take. I
Mhm.
think that's the gist of the discussion right there, because we already know why the men do what we do.
Well, it's like not too long ago I had a couple females in here, auditioning for a podcast at the time. And one of them claimed to have like 300 and some thousand followers on Instagram. Now, this was a young, beautiful woman. And when I asked, how those followers came about, she was kind of shy about it. She never sent me the link to her Instagram. So I kind of just assumed, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that she's, I call them booty clappers. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that she was, but I bring this up to say that for me and for you as well, because we're both getting into the social media. We're both trying to market ourselves. We're both trying to grow as men, bringing respectable messages. And like you heard Officer Tatum even said in his message. Now, this is an individual with 2.2 million followers, right? And even he said in his video that he didn't even know how many people were going to watch that video because people don't like to hear the truth. And that's the bottom line, right? So it's frustrating kind of to us as men who are trying to get a message out or grow on social media to see a woman that she's doing absolutely nothing in the video but spreading herself, and she'll have millions of followers. Videos are getting 30, 40,000 likes. You know what I mean? And this goes back into the power section of what I was speaking about earlier, right? Because women know when they look in the mirror, they go outside and they know that every corner they break, a dude is lusting after them. They know they can get paid for that. And then 9 times out of 10, they got a mama telling them, girl, get this money, right? So how does a young woman, because like in all our discussions, especially the discussions about you, and we talk about the formation of the brain and how the lack of the formation of the brain really doesn't give a child the context of future events. We can't plan 20 years down the road, right? All we can think about is now and gratification now. So how does a child who's being exploited in that sense from their parents, right? Their parents are telling, because their parents are seeing the rewards coming off this here. Like everybody's eating from this girl clapping her cheeks on Instagram.
Look at it like this. You said now. We want it now, right? Now I'm going to give you an example of the now that you're talking about, because we don't see past the now. You have a female, and again, I add the caveat, no offense to any of you women. We love all the women. We love all the people. We're having a discussion, and we want you to join in. Actually, we're defending you because so many other people have disrespected you. So we're defending the women. And if anything, we're talking about these men and misogynistic men. And so the now is this here to me. And the now and the lack of foresight to the future. I'm a female. I'm going to get breast implants. I'm going to get butt implants. Why? Because right now I want to look like this. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in the future, because the future really don't exist to me. The fantasy is living in the now. So we as human beings, men in particular, we fantasize about the woman now. We don't fantasize about what we're going to do to them 5 years from now. We fantasize about what we're going to do to them today, what we want to do to them today. And the women fantasize about that guy that they want in their life today. So everything, all the stock is placed in the now. So this means that all of my actions, all of my reactions are in response to what's going on now, with no sight into, or not even taking into account, the effect or the repercussions that it can have for the future. It's easy to make a decision now because most of us are impulsive. That's how easy it is to make that bad decision right now, because that's all we know is the right now.
Right. And that's what we get into. And there are platforms out there that is taking advantage and manipulating that in itself. For my listeners, this is Thursday Night Get Right. This is Thomas Freedme with co-host Demetris Knuckles Ill, and tonight we're talking about the oversexualization of America and what it's, the effects that it's having on our children and our society. There are a couple comments that I want to get to, one particular from a Crystal Green, but before we get into that, where did you see this transition at, right? Because like for me, in my experiences growing up, coming through the transition of hip hop from urban to corporate, there was a time where girls wouldn't even do anything over sexualized. Like if you tried to get a girl to go down on you, she was like, nah, no, that's nasty. I'm not doing that, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But this was around in the time of like Moni Love, Queen Latifah, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. But for me, where I kind of started seeing that switch was when you had like Foxy Brown, Little Kim, Missy Elliott hit the scene talking about, how bad they were at what they did. And then you just kind of started seeing girls more opening up to this, right?
I think that the Foxy Brown, Lil Kim age ushered in sexuality because now the industry was willing to pay them to sexualize themselves for profit, and the bisexuality was ushered in with people like Queen Latifah. Well, no, Missy Elliott, because nobody knew Queen Latifah. It was just always rumored. But Missy Elliott brought that age in to where it was all right, and she got paid for it. And so, again, I look at what made these women feel comfortable with. It kind of reminded me of Players Club when I forgot the girl named Ronnie, and I think her name Ronnie. She took the girl to the party, the strip party, with the police hat and all that on, and she had the girl take some drinks first, calm her nerves. Drink, calm down, just drink. And now the industry has given women a symbolic drink so they can calm down and allow themselves to be sexualized. Some of them sexually assaulted, sexually dehumanized too. But they gave them that symbolic drink, and that symbolic drink was this here: popularity and money. That was the symbolic drink that they gave women and ushered in during Lil Kim's time. They gave these women that symbolic drink of money and obviously power, money and power. Because as long as you got money and power off what you doing, all the young women gonna strive to do what you doing, and every woman gonna strive to do what you doing. And that's exactly what's happening. They paying them to sexualize themselves, and while they're sexualizing themselves, they're being objectified. And men, it's all a fantasy. And now men are acting out a certain part of that fantasy, that script, that becomes borderline rapists, borderline, even molestation, because the younger girls are doing it, and the men who is so caught up in the fantasy of twerking and that and watching these women, they see a little girl do it, and they don't make a distinction between the woman doing it and the girl doing it, because all they thought about is the fantasy of it. So now the little brother, your little brother, who was once a good little kid, is now watching the little girl down the street do it. Your little brother, 17, 18, he's watching the little 12, 13-year-old girl down the street do it. And then next thing you know, you find out that somebody said he touched the little girl. Because we made it all right. We made it popular. We made it famous. We just made it. We stripped all of the disgrace away from booty clapping and doing all this stuff. And again, I'm not judging no one for what they do, because I can't blame you for being a slave. I can't blame you for being mentally indoctrinated. I can't blame you for none of this. But we talking about it because it's important that we understand how we got here.
Hmm.
That's really what we're talking about, how we got here.
Yeah. Yeah, it has nothing to do. I mean, we're not shaming anybody because at the end of the day, again, one of the reasons why I picked you as a co-host for this show is because, I watched you for a while and listened to you, and I knew that you were on the same page as me. As we're not here to tear anybody down, like you said, we're here to lift people up. And if you control your emotions long enough, number one, if you're getting emotional, then we're probably talking about you, and you know that. So it's really just control your emotions and listen to the message. We're not here to pick you apart. If anything, like D said, we love you and we're here to build you up and get you what you're looking for. Because I think at the end of the day, for me, we're all just trying to find love at the end of the day, someone to love and respect us. And unfortunately, we live in a society that does not practice that. We live in a society that practices capitalism and money over everything. So it's just like that same Instagram woman that was in here. And, she was set on being a millionaire. This is what she said: I'm going to be a millionaire. And my message was, which I really didn't have the opportunity to share with her, which was a shame because everything kind of went chaotic that night. But the message to her and others that think that way, I understand what your goal is. We're all just trying to get out of poverty. We're trying to, so we can establish for our children to go to college, all of these things. This is what we're trying to do. But when your mindset is set on money, I'm going to be a millionaire, that means that you have put your goal into money. And that means that you will do anything in order to reach your goal and get that money, versus putting your goals into something positive and productive, knowing that in itself will produce money. But our children aren't being taught that. They're just taught get money, get money, get money. This is all we hear in every facet. And the reason why I brought up Little Kim and Missy and them is because this was the age where corporate took over the rap industry. It became corporate. And when we start to see where men in particular, because I think we're going to switch it over to the men. I'm going to read Crystal's comment here and then switch it over to the men because men have a big part in this as well. But this is where we started seeing men in Hollywood having to wear skirts and being pegged down a little bit. Their masculinity brought down a little bit, because I think this sicko society of elites want to kind of just put everything in the middle. And me as a hustler, as a gambler, going in and using that and with what Roger Goodell has done with the NFL, it is easier to manipulate a system when everything is right down the middle, right? When you have everything 500, that means that you could just slant it a little this way or slant it a little that way, and there'll never be any notice or change. It's very easy to manipulate a system that bats 500. So my question is, why is this new world order, these elites trying to push humanity into a 500 league, where you can't even tell if it's a man or a woman, and we're not even to address ourselves that way anymore.
Wow, you said a mouthful, man, because it's a mouthful, because I think about a couple jobs I had, and there was people there that you didn't know if there was a man or a woman. You know what I'm saying? And the irony in it is this here. Not the fact that people find themselves in orientations that they were not born with. That's not the irony. Again, that's like blaming somebody for catching cancer. We're not going to do that. The irony in it is that it's people behind the scenes laughing. They laughing and they making money and they laughing their way to the bank. They laughing their way to the bank as people like Little Nas X come out and he do, and they literally transplanted him in hip hop. Little Nas X. Hip hop's supposed to be this place to where it was taboo for a guy to be gay. It was taboo to be a known gay. There's many of them out there gay. Don't get me wrong. Hey, I ain't blaming y'all again, but we know some of y'all gay out there. We're not talking about the ones that's in the closet. We're talking about how the industry transplanted this little guy in the hip hop arena, and they allowed him to use the one name of the most conscious rapper in the industry at this time. The most conscious rapper was Nas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from New York, they allowed him to come in and use the name Little Nas X. What does X mean? Unknown. Now, here it is, taboo in hip hop is men being gay. Now, so now they transplant this little guy, call him Little Nas X, and he comes out as all out gay. And now what hip hop did, just what they did with Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, they began to pay for the oversexualization of these women and the dehumanization of these women for generations. Not just these women, but for generations, because they wanted to set a new standard for making money off exploitation and sexualization of a people. And so that's what they did with Lil Nas X. If you remember, Thomas, man, after Lil Nas X came out as gay and all this other stuff, so many other people came out. So many other people came out. And what they did to hip hop is they said, into the world, is they said, see, hip hop been like this. We own this, because they transplanted people in there that were against the grain of what hip hop was about, sexually was about. And that's what they doing to this very day, laughing their way to the bank on us, man.
So, like, where does it stop at? You know, because like you were saying about the men, you know, let's switch over to the men. So, where does it stop? And it's like I told another female one time, listen, all these men that you have on your page, they're all weirdos, right? Men who subscribe to that type of forte are weirdos. They're deviants in some fashion. And it's okay. So when I flip through them, I'll stop on a pretty girl. I'll look, you know what I mean? But I keep it pushing. I don't sit there and lust after them. You know what I mean? I don't start letting my mind go into different thoughts or anything of that nature. And I don't subscribe to it because this isn't something that I want on my page all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it is actually nice to be flipping through some and just run across a beautiful woman at every once in a while, no matter if she has clothes on or not. Because for me, it's the face. That's the first thing that gets me, right? Is the face. So, but for the most part, if you have 100,000 individuals who are subscribed to your page, who are watching your videos, and you're doing nothing but just booty clapping, these are weird individuals. You know what I mean? And on top of that, you're sitting here and that energy, because again, these young girls and men they're not even understanding this energy field that we're in, right? And then they want to wonder why their lives are so toxic. You know, no, in some fashion, their lives are toxic, and they don't understand that you are putting toxicity out. You're radiating toxicity because you're putting this negative energy out, and you have hundreds of thousands of people who are only speaking negatively about you. I mean, what could they possibly be saying good about you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're showing nothing but your butt cheeks clapping. There's nothing positive that somebody could really radiate out of that message. So you have all of these people who are radiating materiality, ego, negativity, lustfulness about you, right?
Mm.
And the earth responds to that. And we're not even privy to this type of energy, but yet we're feeling it as we go out in public. We're feeling it when we go out and people, maybe it's our family members or whoever, they're turning their backs on us. It's just everything is negative. It just creates a negative thing. But Crystal Green says this: if you have respect for yourself and men or women want to assume or judge all over a picture or a post or because I have booty shorts on, it is really on the person assuming or judging. So this is the thing, Crystal, right? And you're right in some aspects, and that kind of goes into what I'm saying about me just taking a glance and keep it pushing, right? Or if I'm just gonna sit there and just lust over the fact that you got booty shorts on. But it's like this here, right? And it goes kind of with any context. If you look at a cheeseburger on a menu long enough, right? If you look at a cheeseburger on a menu long enough, eventually you're gonna want to have that cheeseburger. And the more that you look at this cheeseburger, you're going to want it. And if you don't have the money to pay for that cheeseburger, that lust is going to be so strong for that cheeseburger that you're going to come to a point to where you're going to start doing things in order to get that cheeseburger. So going to the men, right? These men have to start to understand that they play a big deal in this as well, because we have these influential rappers who degrade women in such a fashion and make women seem like nothing but objects to do whatever with. Rick Ross, and in the one song talking about slipping her something and then raping her while she was passed out, essentially. And when we have these influential individuals that are talking these things, then for our boys, it has an effect. I'm gonna share a story that I just thought of real quick, and then I'll let you in. But I just got some bad news yesterday from somebody that I care about deeply. Right? This is a homegirl, and I don't know the full story. She's very sensitive about it, and I'm not gonna mention too much about it. But this is just the story and point that she was dating somebody, and this is somebody that right after my toxic relationship I met and I saw very briefly, but we met online, and she after time it went on, she met somebody online and she was dating him for a couple months, and I guess this person was not too far from her or whatever, but she invited him over one night for a movie after a couple months. This is a very, very beautiful woman, and he made advances once she brought him into her safe space, and the advances didn't stop, and they led to where he got what he wanted, and then he left. It's this thing where again, and social media has a big play in it, where you have individuals, these men who are continuously seeing this type of stuff online all the time, and now you start to think that every woman is that way and every woman wants it, and that this woman is just playing hard to get, or why was you on the internet looking for a man anyhow if this isn't what you wanted, or whatever kind of deviant mindset this young man puts in his mind to assault a woman.
Mm. 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 That's okay. We know women are hypersexualized, but the only way to hypersexualize a woman is to indoctrinate the man. So You keep flashing like that cheeseburger you was talking about. If you keep flashing in the eyes of the man, that woman, and clapping, butt clapping and twerking, just keep flashing in his face. And people like everybody conscious on TikTok to where how many views she got. She got 10,000 views. She got 100,000 views. Or this girl here, I don't know if she got TikTok, but man, she just like the girl on TikTok that I be seeing. I can't get to the one on TikTok, but I can get to this one right here, live right down the street from me. And so the men are being indoctrinated to believe that just because the woman has been sexually exploited and made money off of, that's something easy for me. She shouldn't have a problem with me coming to smack her on the butt or coming to ask her about some sexual favors or something. She shouldn't have a problem because she clap her butt every day on TikTok or Facebook or wherever else. She at the strip club or something. She does this. So, but the truth is the truth. The truth don't need no support. Women are hypersexualized and indoctrinated, and men are indoctrinated to buy into and to implicitly intimidate women into becoming hypersexualized and allowing themselves to be misused and abused in that state of mind. And so, but I want to say this here. I was listening to this comedian talk today. She was doing some spoken word. And part of her spoken word resonated with me, a lot of it, but this particular part, because I always said this. Social media, the industry, entertainment, whether it's television, whatever the entertainment industry is, they will make money off women butt naked, clapping their cheeks, selling their body on, as long as it's through this social media and entertainment industry, they allow that, right? They make money off it. Because the industry can sell the woman's body, but let her sell her body on the street. She gonna get charged. It's called prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, the industry can make money, send these women out and tell them to clap their butt cheeks, pull a G-string all the way up to where their coochie lips hanging out. They could do all of this to these women with no consequence or repercussions to them, but let that same woman leave that same show and go on that corner and walk up that street with that G-string with her coochie lips hanging out, and she getting charged.
Mm-hmm. Well, this goes back into what we were talking about last week. You know, how Ben Affleck can get millions of dollars for being a bank robber, but the bank robber's in prison and broke.
Right.
You know, but these are but all of this, it's all from the same spawn. It's all from the same seed.
Yeah,
and they're attacking from every aspect, every angle. Think about how hard, like when we were kids, think about how hard it was to really kind of get your hands on some porn or some dirty magazines or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you really had to work on trying to, and you might catch a snippet. You know what I mean? Or something of that fashion. But today, dog, when I signed up for Snapchat, within 5 minutes, I had 50 girls wanted to sending me friend requests, right? And it was all these just girls, you know. See my link here on what's that site? Friends Only or Only Friends or whatever. Come see more of this or whatnot. But these are girls where they're sending 30-second clips of themselves nude and all of that, right? So this is on Snapchat. Now, what if this was a 16-year-old kid that got on there and signed up for it? This is readily available to them. You can go right online and be on Pornhub or any of these other porn sites with no issues, no problems. It's right at our children's hands, day in, day out. How did that even happen? How did we allow as a society for this to happen? Right? And then, but they get away with it by putting these claims. Same with the video games, like Grand Theft Auto. Now, I play Grand Theft Auto, but I wouldn't let my child play it because one, you have to be 18 to play it. That is what they put these censorship age things on there for, so that responsible adults are making sure that their children aren't playing these here. But our adults these days are wanting to have sex with their children's friends.
Man, let's be straight up, man. You hit the nail on the head, man. Here it is. You can have a father or a mother that's 39, 40, or 35 for that matter. And they got a son, 15, 16, 17, 18, and their son's friends are around the same age. The father liked the son's friend. The father might like his son's girlfriend. The mother might like her daughter's boyfriend. Come on, man. Why? Because everything is so much stock being placed in sex. So much stock it's overrated.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stock being placed in sex, and a lot of stock is being placed in hypersexualizing women. And again, remember the indoctrination of the men, because if society didn't tell us that this booty clapping is, man, that turns you on. That turns you on. Reminds me of when I told somebody this here. I said, do you think that a baby would cry if the baby never seen the mother cry?
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? I could be tickling the mother, right? And the mother say, ouch, it hurt. And the baby will start crying. Why? Because the baby just been indoctrinated to believe that something went on with the mother that caused the mother to cry. The baby don't know why. The baby just crying. Now, we watching this stuff go on with these children and these women. And a lot of these children don't even understand this human brain is not completely formed until the age of 26. So we're still going through childhood changes all the way up to the age of 26. But these young children, I think I was talking to you about it. About the twerk song, twerk dance. No, my fault, my perk dance.
Mm.
It's a song called Perk Dance.
Yeah.
Now, this is how I go. It say, perk 10, I just popped the perk 10. Perk 30, I just popped the perk 30. Perk 60, I just popped 2 perk 30s. Now watch me do my perky dance. And you got little children doing a perky dance, right? Now guess what's going to happen? Because they want to know what this perk is. Because right now they just think it's a dance. But at some point, they're going to be introduced to why they called it the perky dance. And then the idea of I want to experiment comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they already grabbing their crouch.
Mm-hmm.
The young boys and young girls are being hyper-sexualized. We seeing it on games today. Every video is somebody getting humped on. Every video is some booties clapping.
Yep, every video.
That's the drink that calms the nervousness of the girl. And that's the same drink that gives the boy the idea that he can do whatever he wants. Because that's all they worth. All they doing is twerking. Because I'm going to tell you something. I watched this with my own eyes before, many times. I was watching. I was at, we was in Chicago. No, we wasn't in Chicago. I forgot where I was. And I was watching the girls, they dance, and the guys, they dance. And so you know how nowadays when a girl twerk, all her friends go to smacking her on the butt and all that stuff. So the boy, he went to trying to get some too. She was like, But he looking at everybody else smacking her. Some people she don't even know.
Right.
Just walking up like, yeah, girl. There it is right there. Because he's been indoctrinated by the fantasy that this is okay. So if that's okay, then it's okay for me to do this.
Mm-hmm. Which leads into that TikTok that I think I sent to you. I don't know if I sent that to you or not, where Busta Rhymes was walking through the airport and the woman came up behind security and smacked him on the ass. And
Yeah,
he turned
yeah,
around and threw the drink on her, as he
yeah,
should have.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
love Busta Rhymes for that, because that's absolutely correct. Because if Busta Rhymes, well, not Busta Rhymes, but if I would have walked up behind Beyonce and smacked her on the booty, you know what I mean? What would have
Yeah.
happened to me? What would happen to any man that walked up to a female, right, and smacked her on the butt in public? So
Right.
I'm glad that Busta Rhymes wetted her up, as he should have. And at the end of the day, it's so let's get into some solutions, right? Before we wrap this up, for parents, man, that want to try to reel in their children's sexuality. For me, what I say is that once the child has been exposed to it, there's no turning back from there. And trying to hold that child back is just really going to put them in a rebellious state and make them want to go out and do it more. So it's really sitting them down and getting them to understand in their own terms, not yours. This is a mistake that I think a lot of parents make, is we talk to our children from adult standards, and they just can't comprehend that. So it's dumbing yourself down and lowering yourself to a child's level, and explaining to this child the responsibilities that come behind sex, the effects of sex, what sex is really intended for, and the preciousness in it. Again, we're not telling anybody not to make love or have sex, but it's not gym class. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's meaning to this stuff. And when we take away the meaning and the value of it, then we start to feel depreciated and undervalued as human beings,
Mm.
because that is what this is there for, is to make us feel special, to feel valuable. And I'm giving a part of my body and the essence of my soul to an individual because I want them to appreciate that. You know what I mean? It's two becoming one, and there's a message behind that. But when you're just out just doing the wild thing, then you lose what that message is, and then you start to understand why our divorce rate is skyrocketing, and why there's no respect in relationships anymore, and why all men think women cheat, and vice versa. We get into these chasms that are separating us.
Well, you can't unsee what your eyes always been seeing all this time. So once the child eyes been seen it, you can't unsee that. It's like you say, parents got to just sit the child down, because at this point, the eyes already seen it. You can't take that back. But what you can do is explain what their eyes actually seen, and explain uh, how the child does not have to find themselves trying to experiment with what their eyes just seen.
Mhm.
Because the most important thing, of this discussion is the solution.
Mhm.
Because we already know what the problem is. Maybe we didn't know how we got here, but we know we are here. And now we're trying to find a solution to get out of here. And one of our suggestions and solutions in this thing is first acknowledging that a problem exists. That's the number one thing. We have to acknowledge that there is a problem with over-sexualization of women and indoctrination of women in entertainment and men in entertainment. It's a process that they have gone through to be indoctrinated. All of us are indoctrinated in one way or another. All of us.
Mhm.
But that sexual indoctrination leads to rape, molestation, prison, suicide, depression, anxiety. It leads to so many different things. And my message to the audience is that we have to be mindful of the enemy that is trying to devour us mentally by feeding us images. taking our reality away and replacing it with a fantasy. And then we feed that fantasy. And the next thing you know, I'm in jail for rape because I fed the fantasy that society has indoctrinated me with. Be mindful of who we dealing with, how we're dealing with people, and just be mindful of respect. Because at the end of the day, man, do you want to see your mother out there booty clapping all day? Guys trying to grab your mama butt cheeks and stuff. No. So I'm not getting on the women for doing it. No. But I'm saying we have to draw the line somewhere. We have to take back our dignity and respect. If you want to shake your butt, let it be because you want to shake your butt, not because the industry say, if you shake your butt, I'm going to give you this. Let it be your decision and not their decision to control your life.
Amen. And again, just don't get into it for the likes and subscribes, man. You know, I know it's easy, especially for a beautiful woman, to put a post up and show some cleavage, show your ass or whatever, and get 100,000 likes. But at the end of the day, what? I mean, what are you, a couple $100 for that video, if that? You know what I mean? It's not worth it. It brings all the negativity, like you said, into your life. So when you're out in public, when all of this toxicity is coming into your life, you have to understand that you're putting toxicity out. And for you mothers and fathers, right, who are doing this deviant crap, like cut it the hell out, stop it, and get a hold of yourself, or go get some psychiatric help. Do something, because this is ridiculous now. You know, I talked to a female out in KC, out in the Midwest, and she told me something disturbing, homeboy. She told me that there are dudes out there who are purposely getting with women who have 16, 17-year-old daughters to try to be getting at their daughters. Wow. When the women the women will go off to work or whatnot, they're having sex with their daughters and things. Like, this shit has to stop. And I know that the individual that's already caught up in that mess, he's probably listened to this message like, man, bump you. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. But just know, and I want you to hear this message, when whatever happens to you, know that you brought this on to yourself. And like Dee said, you know, now you're sitting in prison for rape. And that even goes for these individuals who may have not raped anybody. But you put yourself in a position to allow this woman to holler that. And you have no evidence to back up out of it. You see what I'm saying? And now you're fighting for your life because for whatever agenda this woman has, you know, there's instances where, again, young boys, these women will trap you up, right? These beautiful women will get you to take them to your house, and then they'll let jack boys know where you live at. She'll get up in the middle of the night and unlock the doors and let them in, you know. Men, same thing. Women, these men will rape you. They'll hurt you. They'll kidnap you. They will leave you in a gutter. You know, so it's like, stop with all this stuff, man. You know, and parents, get a hold of yourself. Like, this is not cool. You know, you're one grade above a child molester. You know, it's just like, save our children, man. Save our future. This is for the future of our nation and the integrity of our nation. You know, like Dee said at the top of the show, like, I want our women, especially American women, to not be talked about around the world the way that they are, but to know that we produce queens. We produce top-notch women, man, boss women, right? Who stand by their man and support their man. And like, we're putting out trash on every aspect, whether it's music, movies, or just human beings. America is producing straight trash right now.
Shame and the glory has been misplaced, man. We glorify the weakness of our people in industry, and we glorify the weakness in the destruction, the killers, the drug dealers, the sex workers. We glorify this stuff, the strippers, and then we shame those who go into college, those who want to do things with their life, other things with their lives, those who are trying to just do the right thing with their lives, those fathers who want to be fathers to their children, who are being fathers to their children, mothers who are being mothers today, we shame them because as a society, we are all being indoctrinated one way or the other. It's just a matter of us acknowledging that we're being indoctrinated, because once we know that, now we know that we've been injected with a medication. But if we know this, now we could take that other medication to offset the medication that they're injecting us with. In other words, they're injecting us with devilish ways. So we're injecting ourselves with godly ways to keep it balanced out, because the devil will never equal up to God. But that's for those of us who acknowledge that we are being indoctrinated with devilish ways.
And
Wake up.
You have to acknowledge it, and it's okay. Again, like we're not here to beat you down. We're here just to wake you up. Wake up, and understand that indoctrination within you and stop it immediately. So, we'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. Let me give a shout out to Mr. Christopher Marlin, my father Don Draper, Crystal Green for her comments, my man Frieza. Thank you guys for joining in tonight with the discussion, leaving your comments. And I'll let D give his goodbyes.
All right, we want to give us thanks to Dorsha McGee, who said this was a great show. And that's the only person that directly gave a comment. Other people just gave thumbs up, love signs. And so we want to give thanks to everybody that I gave thanks to before, all the ground troops around the world who are trying to uplift their community, uplift their people, hold their people in the highest regard, and try to pull their people out of turbulent times and darker days. And we want to give special shout outs to the Coming Home Coalition, the Great Minds Project 5.0, Michigan Liberation, and so many other organizations named and unnamed. And we want to send special prayers out to those who are going through trials and tribulations in their family, whether that be death, sickness, or whatever the situation may be. We send in special prayers out to you, as well as to those who are just living, breathing, and nothing is wrong with you. We send in prayers out to you as well.
Amen. Stay strong, people, and look to your leaders. Look to your community leaders. Dee named off a bunch of them. If you follow me, I go through a lot of organizations here in the Tampa Bay area. We're building something huge that will be coming out here soon. But just look to your leaders. Get in your community. Get active. Start your own nonprofit. Get out. Speak your mind. Get your voice. Start getting people together, and we'll find you. People like me. People like Demetrius. Larry Smith. There's individuals out there that truly care about their community. We will find you, and we'll help amplify your voice. So many blessings, you guys. Take care. Thank you for those who joined in, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.